How's everyone doing this morning? I think, is there anyone that doesn't know me? All right. Well, we didn't know if I needed to introduce myself or not. The good thing is, one, I hate microphones because I also think that we're small enough, but I know we need to do it for the video, so I acquiesce to that. So a lot of today that we're going to be doing is really just having conversations, talking about reasons to be joy, how to be joyful, what it means to be joyful, and the difference between folly and jolly, right? Another word for jolly, keeping the Christmas thing going, is really joy, right? Joy, joyous, rejoicing are, adjectives that we use, but we're all in each of it. And so we're just going to kind of converse a lot of what we're going to be doing today in order to, it's so funny because it's almost like Jeff and I got together on our presentations, because I'll echo a lot of what he talked about this morning, which is, our plan. Presenters always get together to ensure there's a common theme throughout all the presentations, and so we're with you, so each other. But a lot of what we're going to be doing today is self-reflecting, because we can't help the teams or the groups that we're with or our families if we don't first know how to do it, right? So we're going to be going through a lot of that. So first, and I want to also thank Bob for having another Mac and having some equipment that will help me on my Mac this morning. So thank you so much. And in fact, this great little tool right here allows me to walk around. I don't know if most of y'all know me, but I don't like to stand still down. And so this is my friend, and it's worth more weight than gold. Talk about value. This is very valuable today. All right, so the first thing we want to do is actually talk about the difference between jolly and folly. And we go to the Bible for this, because there's actually a verse in Proverbs 15:21 that actually explains what folly is. So folly brings joy to the one who has no sense, but whoever has understanding keeps straight course. So folly isn't necessarily bad. We all do the folly, but it depends on the type of folly that you do. Another word for folly is sin. I heard it briefly, but no one wanted to yell it out loud. Right? So it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be bad folly like what we think of is sin, right? It's just our motivation behind that. So there's good joy and there's bad joy, right? There's not so good folly. There's good jolly, right? So we're going to go through a couple things, right? Some smoke weed, some drink coffee, and all do it for the same reason. Some can't wait to get married, and then some can't wait to get divorced or separated, but we all do it for the same reason. Some can't wait to have kids, and then some can't wait to get a babysitter just to get away from them, right? And we all do it for the same reason. Some eat donuts, did it for some reason this morning, and some eat salads. And we all do it for the same reason. Social media, some teenagers cannot wait to have their own account, get on Twitter, get on Facebook, they can't wait, and then some boycott it like the plague. They're tired of it, they hate it, and never want to get on it, right? And they all do it, we all do it, for the exact same reason. Does anyone know why? Yep. By the way, in case y'all didn't read, this is an interactive workshop. So I will be calling on people if y'all don't do it. This is all in love, right? Because we're not going to learn anything. Who needs paper? Because if you have paper, you're good. Just want to get some paper to those who didn't come prepared, except for you. You're okay. Anyone need paper? Nor did you need it. I had you. All right. So, moving on. So, what is folly, aka bad joy? We're going to define that real quick, okay? And we're going to come back to why we do everything for the same reasons, okay? So, that was the cool animation that wouldn't play on Jeff's little computer this morning. All right. Things that bring us joy, the bad joy, right? Brings us joy, but not necessarily is going to last. Those are some of the bad jollies. Those are drinking too much, eating too much, spending too much, criticizing others, gossiping, complaining, judging, things that don't last, okay? These things and more, we can talk about this all day long, right? Leaves you with a physical hangover, regret, or remorse. That's your bad joy. All right, so not that drinking is bad, depending on what it is. Not that smoking is bad, depending on what kind it is. Because there are times that it is okay because of medical reasons, right? Okay, spending too much can leave you broke, right? Criticizing others and gossiping hurts others. Complaining, judging is, I put it in red because that's what we're going to focus on here for a second. So when we are self-reflecting, one of the things that we need to first do is ensure that we're not complaining. When things happen, and things happen to us every single day, things frustrate us, things bring us down, things don't go our way, right? The worst thing we can do is complain about it. Are you going to get frustrated? Yes. But the more we complain about it, we are losing our focus on what is really important and how to be joyful, and it robs us, right, of having a different perspective on things, right? The worst thing to do is vocalize what's going wrong. Okay, this week, I could have easily, just this week alone, right? I had Wednesday all planned out to really focus on this presentation, right? I wanted to fine tune it. I wanted to do my animations. I wanted to do whatever. And all of a sudden, y'all know that I've been working in Bartow for 4 months, right? Not, I know, right? What's in Bartow? Nothing. Nothing's in Bartow, right?
Everybody in Bartow.
Oh, yeah. But what did I do? I get a call on Tuesday. They have an issue. Barbara, is there any way you can work tomorrow? And I'm like, of course I can. You know? And they don't know what's going on in my life, right? And so I could have gone in there like, oh, God, I needed a presentation to work out, but I didn't get a chance to do it. Jeff, I don't know what I need you to pray for me because, oh my gosh, they needed me to get there. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy, but I wound up closing. I got a guest that yelled at me, right? So what does that do, right? It just, ugh. And it's so funny because we think what we're saying is important, right? But as you're the recipient of people complaining around you, what are you doing? You're like, the roll eyes inside your head. You're trying to be listeners, right? But we're like, right? And then judging, right? How often is it that out of our mouth is, why in the world they do that? Why didn't they do it this way? Why didn't they just do this? They annoy the crap out of me. How in the world, right? I mean, a constant, right? When we verbalize our complaining and our judging, all it does is continue to make the problem bigger. It robs us of being positive and energetic. We cannot find joy when we are complaining, we're judging, we're criticizing others, we're gossiping. I actually, it was because of Bartow in my newsletter last month, I wrote an article on the fact that when things go wrong, address it with the person that you need to instead of announcing it to everybody else, because the person that needs to change doesn't know anything about it, right? But as soon as you start going, oh, can you believe that she did that? All right, case in point. I got tons of examples. God's letting me only remember the ones that are important for y'all, because I went through several scenarios in my head, right? And we all do, but luckily he helps me only remember the ones that are important. Scenario, I'm working, closing, someone says, we're out of bacon. And I'm like, we're out of bacon? How do we run out of bacon? Okay. I'm like, okay. I get the bacon going. I get it running out. Luckily, it takes 12 minutes. We have new candy bacon. We have a promotion going on for the summer that, it's terrible operationally, but guests love it, so we're going to do it, right? No problem. So I hurry up and get the bacon to it. And I mentioned to the team in the pit, I'm like, hey, next time if you can just give me a little heads up before you actually run out so that I can put some more on if you're running low. They both like, we did, but Miss White, we did. We tried it, yelled it out twice. I mean, they're just mad, right? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay. So then I find out what happens, get it done. I find out that the team member that was upset, like the girl, because it was the salad bar person that was supposed to do our bacon. She wasn't doing it. Her music was up loud, which we were good if they have music in the back of the house. It was loud. She didn't hear it. She was in the cooler, whatever. So I just let it go. I got the problem solved. We just did it. I'm near the end of the night. I have a server who comes up to me, Miss Barbara, I just want to let you know, the whole dining room's talking about how Chris just talked to you. I'm like, what? She goes, oh yeah, they're so pissed off. We got your back. We're so mad at how disrespectful she was to you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, because I didn't find it disrespectful at all. She was frustrated. I said, so I don't understand. She goes, well, they're ready to, okay, number one, let's calm down. One, she wasn't disrespectful. She was frustrated, but she wasn't disrespectful to me. In fact, every time I've had to hold her accountable for something and change and coach her, she's actually been extremely respectful. She's like, yes, ma'am, I got you. She's never talked back to me. What she was frustrated and venting because she had called out twice, right? And I said, and there's times, right? There's times to discuss her frustration. In the moment was not the time to go, chill, girl. Why are you all mad, right? Or nor the way to do it. So several things happened. They're all texting our GM. I get a text from the GM saying, hey, do I need to come up there? I heard there's something. I'm like, what the heck, So in my mind, I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, and then she says, the server goes, oh, I need to learn to do that. Because I was like, there's a time and a place. Now's not the time or the place. And so she went out. I said, so now I have to go to a couple other people, another team member, sit her down because she was frustrated and help her understand. And my big saying is no matter how flat like a pancake, it always has two sides. And helping people understand the different perspectives. People are hearing only this much of it, right? And so they quickly judged. Now they're complaining. They're making it bigger for this one team member who is very passionate. But knowing, as a manager, I know she's very passionate. Later on, I said, hey, can you bring me a little bowl of fries? I'm hungry. She said, yes, I got you, girl. She comes in, sits down. I'm like, so I noticed earlier you were a little frustrated. Tell me what, she goes, yeah. She goes, her music's always loud. Every time we, yell out, we never get it. I'm like, okay, well, I also spoke with her. She happened to be in the cooler at the time. I said, but I also mentioned to her that we needed to turn the music down. I said, however, what you can do is that if you're not getting a response, because in the restaurant business, the word is heard, right? If you don't get a reaction heard, out of bacon heard, okay? If you don't hear that response, that means she's not. So you need to look around to say, oh, she's not there. That's why she didn't hear me. It could have been the music, but it could have been that she was in the cooler because she can't see. I said, so next time, make sure you get a response. And if you don't, then get a manager and say, hey, I need this. Because the worst thing is to run out of bacon like we did. So just make sure you hear that. Yes, ma'am. Very respectful, right? So now I'm having to go around, but no one knew both sides of the thing. And now I'm having to have a conversation with the GM because she's being texted at home. It's her day off and her birthday, no doubt. So this is why, right, had they just come to me and say, Miss Barbara, I thought that was very disrespectful, I could have easily nipped it in the bud right then and there and said, no. She wasn't disrespectful. She was frustrated because she seems to, it's happened a couple of times. Even the other guy said, we yelled it out twice. So that's why when you complain and you verbalize to other people from your perspective, right, it may not be the full perspective. I'm a big believer that perception is not reality. It's just your perception. But it doesn't mean that it's the full picture. Right? Now, my saying of no matter how flat you make a pancake, it always has two sides. It's not an original quote, but I steal it and I use it all the time because it's just so appropriate. And so it's because of that, it's like, go to the person directly, because oftentimes we do not know what they're dealing with, what they said, or we don't have the full picture. So when we complain, it robs us of our, totally takes the focus off of being joyful, right? Now, leader, my job was to diffuse the situation, not escalate the situation. Knowing the timing, knowing how to talk to someone because this person is very passionate, knowing if they're defensive. I had the other girl that was upset because of the way she talked, was very emotional. She's an emotional person. So whether you're leading a team, whether you're in a family, whether you're in a Bible study group, whether you're a friend, you're leading people. Another word for leading is really influencing the outcome, the desired outcome of a peaceful resolution, right? So that's why I choose this, because if we're doing this, right, we can't expect others not to do it. I'll go into that a little further too. All right, so why do we do all that? Because everyone wants to be happy. Why do we do the bad joy? We are always, every single one of us, Dave's point, is we're looking for something, some kind of satisfaction. Motivations for everyone is different, but the motivation is always going to be the pursuit of happiness. We do not wake up to say, how can I be miserable today? Everything we do is, we need peace, we need to be happy. We want it. We absolutely want it, but our behaviors tell us that we don't, because we're criticizing, right? We're focusing on self, how it affects me, how it affects, my world, how what I didn't like. All right? As leaders, right? Motives are always changing because you've got people around you that are changing. You're changing. Your age is changing. Our culture is changing. Our race is different from one environment to another. Scenarios change, people change, perspectives, they change as we get more information to make decisions, right? What I am doing today is so different than what I was doing a few years ago, right? Because we hopefully will continue to evolve. So, think about, let's talk it, this one we're going to talk out. Things that drive me crazy. When you're at work, leading people, dealing with clients or guests, family members, okay, what are some things that drive you crazy? What else drives you crazy?
We have hearing aids in Geneva.
Yeah.
No urgency.
No, oh, you're speaking to. No sense of urgency. Especially with someone that has a lot of urgency and a lot of energy. Someone that goes slow, it drives me crazy. Right there with you. What else drives you crazy? Oh, yes. Not focused on work at all. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, as you were saying that. What else drives you crazy? Mm-hmm. Yep. What else? Yeah, man. Y'all know my team members? Yeah. Yeah. Y'all are speaking because you've experienced it in other people, right? So, I'm going to give you an exercise. It's your first one. Okay? This is one of my biggest pet peeves, not communicating, right? What was Jeff's mentioning this morning? As leaders, we have to communicate. So your first exercise, you interpret it how you want, all right? We're at Christmas Dreams. We've got some needs. We have a vehicle. We need to buy a vehicle. Whatever you want, I don't care. Write down a vehicle. We need a company vehicle. Just each one, write down. Write it down. There's a reason why we're writing it down. We need a company vehicle. We got to go to hospital. Who knows where we're going? You know, it's for Christmas Dream, so whatever. Yep. Nope. This is not the interactive part. You're interacting by putting down. Now, okay, I'll give you this. I need a make, a model, and a color. Okay, I need a make, a model, and a color. That's your direction. It's not a bicycle, it's not a train, you know. It's not a scooter. It's got to have 4 wheels. All right. Everyone got it? You got, okay. So, Steve, what kind of vehicle are we getting? What'd you write down? Model? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. All right, so what model? What make, I'm sorry. Peterbilt, what color? Blue. Does anyone else have a Peterbilt truck blue written down? Anyone else? Anyone got that? Kirk, what'd you get?
I have no mock make.
White, okay. Anyone have an I don't care truck and a white truck? Blue. With a towing package. Anyone else got that? This really surprised me. I thought everyone would write the same one down. I really thought this is weird. Okay, what do we do with that? Okay, so, maybe, to Jeff's point earlier, I needed to give a little bit more direction. right? So, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been in a scenario, whether it in your family, at work, in a group, with your friend, with your spouse, right?
It's only happened
Right. That's exactly the point, because I can do anything. It's not that you did anything wrong, right? But look how many people we have in this room. That is how many different perspectives you're going to have for the same direction. So if you get frustrated that you gave somebody direction and they didn't get it, what do we have to do? We give them enough information to be successful. Did we say, listen, we need something a little bit more economy. We need a company vehicle, okay? We've got a trailer and a truck. That was stupid, right? We needed a vehicle to drive around the hospitals, right? Don't you feel like your boss sometimes, or your spouse or your family members, like, why? That was stupid. You know, we needed something that was reliable. It's a nonprofit, for goodness sakes. We need something that's economy. How did you not get that? Right? Because you didn't tell me. You know, I'm like, our perception of what we think we need, he automatically is like, okay, we're going to need something for the truck, obviously, because I didn't specify. But when we get frustrated and we start complaining and we start judging, right, we have to pick up that mirror and say, okay, did I give enough direction? Was I clear with that? And I'm just celebrated a milestone birthday. Y'all just figure out which one it is. Make sure you score, guess low, not high. Huh? Yes. So close. So close. I've learned a lot now I actually take responsibility now, because I used to be that person. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't have been more clear. I said, I need a company vehicle for Christmas dreams. How many times has that gone here? I could not have been more clear. Apparently you weren't, right? But as many different people, different genders, right? He went for the truck, right? You probably picked a Toyota Corolla, right? 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 I would have picked, a little something economy, right? I mean, we all have a different vision of what we think is needed, but if we don't communicate it, right, then how can we expect, our team to also get what we need? Those things, again, one, robs us of our joy. But when we change the perspective, like, oh, I may not, how could I have been more clear, so that they're not frustrated, and I'm not complaining, and I'm not judging, and recognizing that maybe we needed a little bit more information. Or say, hey, actually, that's not, and now if it doesn't matter, right, I hate it, it's like, you choose, I don't care. And how many times have you done that, and you're like, oh, yeah, no, not that one. Yeah, that's not what I want. I'm like, then you do care, right? And apparently you do. So, yeah, not always that we could say that back to our bosses, but so this is where the folly comes in, right? Because we don't always react in a way that is uplifting or encouraging, and we've just made somebody feel totally defeated. Okay? And if we did any of those moments, how do you find joy? How do you find jolly in the folly, right? How do we get there? So, this is an exercise for you. We're going to look at good joy. Not there's no good joy. Is there any good joy? That's what we're getting ready to write down too, okay? So I want you right now to think of, again, this is interactive, so you're going to have to write it down because we're going to be talking about it. So I want you to think about things, places, or moments that actually bring you joy. When you are frustrated, right? Where's your happy place? Where have you been in the past that totally brings you joy and peace and you just, or things. It doesn't have to be a place. It can be a thing. It can be a moment. It can be seeing a brand new baby, which is an oxymoron because baby is new. It's like jumbo shrimp. All right, so write it down. I do not see pens going on over here. Huh? Oh, you're done. You only have one place, huh? You can't think of any more. That's okay. All right. Think of times when you feel joy. Right. Think about that. I will be. I don't like my class. Can I come in? No. A real coffee. Oh, y'all didn't hear that, did you? I was not complaining about y'all. That's right. All right. Apologize to Matt. I was supposed to get this beforehand. Just look at it. Okay. Are we ready? So everyone? What brings you joy? Who wants to be first before I call on someone? Rick. I keep wanting to call you Rick. I don't know why. Kirk. Can you be Rick now? Okay. Kirk.
My wife's arms.
One more time? Mm-hmm. You know she's not here, right? Yeah, right. What else? Yes, and what was that? Ah, that was a good answer. Me too, not with your bride, but, I mean, I'm sure it's fun, but, yep. Nice. Yeah. Who else? Who else wants to share? What brings you joy?
I put family get together.
Yes. For the same reasons of our first slide, right? We all in pursuit of happiness for the same reason. Jeffrey? I don't know why I didn't know that. Anyone else want to share? Oh, yeah. Yeah, mine is also water, anything on water. I will remember a time, and I want you to create a vision. I'm going to share you one of my visions and let you know why we're doing this. My vision is always sunset or sunrise on the beach. And I will tell you, God did this just for me, no one else. I was doing a quiet time early in the morning. It was dark when I got out there because I was prepared to see the sunrise. As I'm looking at the sunrise, I will forever have this image in my mind. Of course, I'm an animal lover, probably because I was born in July. I'm a Cancer, so, it's a crab, water, just drawing the lines. It all connects. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm just enjoying the sunset, and lo and behold, tell me what I saw in the water. Dolphin. Not only a dolphin, he jumped out of the water twice right in front of the sun. And I'm like, couldn't have been a better moment, right? I will forever, I was just like, thank you, God, I know you did that just for me, right? Those are, I often remember that image. And so when I feel frustrated, instead of complaining, I go to it, because there are times, and sometimes I go into our cooler and yell, to get that vent out, we call it the elevator. You need to go to the elevator? Yes, I need to go to the elevator. And I go into the cooler and we yell and we talk about, yeah, right? But we are going to have those moments when we feel like things are caving in and people are being critical and things are coming at you that we just can't control, right? And so we need to, because God, first of all, can handle our frustrations. I think I did scream last night on the way home and had a moment on the way home. I was like, oh my God, God, yep. Another story, but I'm like, oh, thank God, God is big enough to handle this. I just need to get that, out. Good, thank you. And then I go to those dolphins, that dolphin jumping in the sunset, right? Those are but we have to train our mind, right, to bring that joy and peace and have something ready for those moments that you can change your thought process, because it's all about your mind. All right, so I won't make you guess on this one. If this resonates with you, just react like I got you, girl, right? Accidentally, I travel a lot, and big Delta person, so I actually get access to the Delta Sky Club, right? I had a long layover, I went there. So I know, right? So amazing, I'm just gonna let you know, it's awesome. Anyway, so I went to go get some coffee, and I saw only these cups. Now, normally, I've seen regular coffee cups. And I asked the gentleman, do you have any coffee cups? He goes, yeah, they're just in the back. We just haven't brought them out yet. He goes, I'll be glad to get you one. Okay, great. Comes back out. Now, I don't have anything fancy. Now, sometimes I'll make myself to a latte, but I'm black coffee girl. I don't need sugar, don't need cream, right? I'll see if you can guess. Do you know why I preferred to do the coffee cup as opposed to the mug as opposed to the coffee cup? Yeah. Here's for me, and then this is why you may not, because for me, my mindset is I sit and breathe and relax with a mug, and with this one, I'm just like, I'm on the go, right? So in my mind, right, my mindset makes me like, right? It automatically, and tell me if you don't think it, when I'm having a stressful day, I think about going to, right where I live, a little boutique coffee place, which is the ones I love the most. I'm sorry. I don't like their coffee, because the black coffee there, it's gross. But if you put all that stuff in it, it's not too bad. But anyway, nice little Colombian coffee place, latte, and I'm just like, right? Another visual when we're stressed, and we'll talk about mindset here in a little bit, right? But I automatically just breathe and I calm down with a coffee mug, where this one makes me feel like I'm on the run and I'm always on the go, right? Same coffee. The coffee is not different. Same black coffee out of the same machine. It's a mindset, right? So, okay. Oh, I forgot about my animation. All right, so when there's so much change going on, when perspectives change, motives change, people change, right? How do you find joy when things are changing all around us, when we're on the go, when we're on the run, when things aren't going right? How do we find joy in the change? The first step is recognizing what you can and can't control. Now, let's look back. Let's look back at your list for a second on things that bring you joy, right? Is there anything on that list that you can control? Can you control the weather at the beach? Can you control when you have a family gathering? Can you control if your wife is not there? She's not here, right? So does anyone have anything on their list that they can control? Mm-hmm. Right? But the event itself, right? Right. So, again, don't let things you can't control steal your jolly. Right? At the end of the day, does it really matter? Right? If it didn't happen, does it matter? What if we did a list for, if you're a boss, what if we did a list for you? What would you wind up on a list of the folly or the jolly because of our behaviors, right? We can't control other people, right? We can't control circumstances. The only thing that we have control over is how we react to whatever happened. Jeffrey, what happened this morning when I got here? And why did I say this would be a good example? Yep. I was like, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. I can read it off the laptop. But at the same time, what I did control is I got here an hour early. I checked out what we had, so I was not having anxiety. Like, why would they not have a clicker? Why would they not have an adapter? Why would they not have, this is a presentation. Why, right? Why would they not? Whereas I got here and I was not only flexible, I was fluid, because fluid goes where? Flexible can't. I learned that from a pastor years ago. I won't say the name because I don't want to embarrass him. Jeff Dixon, right? And I have, there are things that we learn every day that maybe today something's going to resonate with you. Like that resonated with me years ago, and I use it all the time. Just like no matter how flat you make a pancake, it always has two sides. Because everyone has a different perspective. Everyone has a different thought. Everyone thinks about things differently, right? But I have in the past come in frustrated. Oh my gosh, my presentation is not going to be the same. Now what do I do? Okay, this doesn't work. That doesn't work. I have been there before, but have learned and will continue to learn. Right? As we evolve, my perspective changed, my attitude has changed because I had the control over that. And literally, the team around me was trying to like, okay, well, if we do this, can we do this? And I'm like, yeah, I have a link that I'm going to go to, but I'm going to do it on my phone because it was taking too long to load here. And I'm like, nope, that's too long. It's going to, it brings an awkward silence. It's weird. People feel sorry for you, So I'm like, the visual's not important. It's what you're going to hear that's more important, right? But it's learning, because to Jeff's point, he said, oh yeah, my presentation didn't work one time and it wound up being better, right? That's where you have to get to, is when you can't control things and things don't happen the way you planned it or wanted it to, recognizing like, hey, it's all right, what's going to happen? Because what we don't do is recognize that things don't happen to us. That's where we want to go. Things happen for us. Like when bad things happen, are we going to look at it like, oh, okay, what am I going to learn here? Okay, why is this happening? God brings you to it. He also brings you through it. But the control is how we react to that, and being wise enough to recognize that it may work out better. I'm counseled the same girl last night with passion, right? She, was upset last night, and she was talking about, in my mind, I'd considered it drama. It's personal drama with, her girlfriend, but it's, but to her, it was important. It was devastating. It was going to affect her night. So how do I listen to where she's at in her life and still say, and I said the same thing, I'm like, girl, you got this. Listen, things happen for us, not to us, right? If it happens to us, it's all about we're the victim, right? If it happens for us, okay, what am I learning here? How is this going to get better? And as you listen, you're going to be in a position, because financially she's not in a good position. I'm like, listen, one day you're going to have an opportunity to bless somebody else. I have the opportunity. I'm in a position where I can bless you and with resources that I have. And one day you're going to pay that forward, and you're going to learn something through that. And God blesses those blessings, right? And so that's where when I try to figure out why I am in bar still for 4, right? We pick about it. Those moments are why I'm still there. Because not another pastor, same pastor, I use this one as well, is that our vocation is what? Jeffrey, don't answer this question. Our vocation is be a Christian. That's what we're called to do. That's what we do every day. But our occupation, sorry, my bad, I had that right. Our occupation, sorry, just to rewind that and delete that, edit that out. Our occupation as a Christian, our vocation is how we get paid to do our occupation. Again, it's a mindset. I've chosen that mindset to control what I do each and every day. That's why I've gotten from being anxious, and because I'm, at heart, I'm a perfectionist, right? I do not like things to go wrong, especially if I plan for them to go wrong. But how many times in your life have you planned for something so well and it did not work out the way it was, right? No matter how well you plan, things are going to go wrong. You just have to expect it. Okay, if it expects it, like all day today, I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. I can do it from here. I can do it from here. It did not steal my joy. If anything, it was funny because I was like, oh, this is going to be a good example for today's presentation. Who knew? But if I'm trying to teach that and I'm anxious this morning and I'm getting frustrated and mad, right? Now, like, okay, she's talking out her boo-hoo because she's teaching it. She ain't living it. Okay, so let's move on. For me, change is the opportunity to learn more, right? People don't naturally like change because of the unknown that it brings. But again, if we can change our mindset to recognize that change is really an opportunity to just learn. Okay, what is this bringing me? Who knows? It may be a lot better than what you were doing before. But you won't know that if your attitude is, I don't like this. It's not going to work. I'm going to criticize it. I'm going to judge it. I'm going to complain about it. It's not going to work. Right? So, your mind is what you control. Right? Don't believe this excuse. The reason why my mind is negative is because my life is so hard. Whereas it could be your life is so hard because you're so negative. Right? Those are not any of y'all. I know. But the people you lead, your family members, your groups, Bible studies, right? It's the change of your mind, right? If all you see or talk about or focus on is what not going right, then that's all you get. That's all you'll ever see. Another saying, where it came from, you get what you give. You give negativity, don't get it. You give positivity, you get it. So, you and only you have the power to change your mind. You and only you, right? A mindset is what controls you. The only way to change your default, the automatic thinking, is by filling your conscious mind with new and or good information. The only way it's going to change. It's no different. This mindset, right? Although it's a good mindset because it brings me peace, but it's controlling me, right? I need to recognize, right? Like I immediately go to, oh, I need a coffee cup. I need a coffee cup, right? I don't need it, right? It's that difference. It's that fine line. I enjoy a nice latte or a coffee in a mug, right? But if I think that that's what I need in this moment, oh my God, I need to go to my favorite coffee shop, right? It's controlling me, right? I have to recognize that and stop and say, I can enjoy it without it affecting me. And I enjoy the imagery, but I don't have to rely on that imagery does that make sense? So we have to control the mind. Don't let the mindset control you, okay? 95% of our behaviors are automatic. We don't have to think about breathing. Most of us don't have to think about saying please and thank you. We don't have to think about how to drive a car, although we had to learn at one time, right? Most of our stuff, because that's our conscious, right? That's why also we set a goal, but we don't necessarily meet the goal. Because setting goals is a function of our conscious mind. Reaching them is a task of our subconscious mind. We have to rethink things. We have to change things. So the subconscious mind occupies most of our brain. It doesn't work off logic. Therefore, it believes anything that it is told repeatedly by the conscious mind. Right? So, don't believe this lie, that I can't do something. Okay, this is my screen. This is my cue. Let's go to this, right? Lies. The words I can't should not come out of your mouth. This is why.
States that if you spend 100 hours in a year, which is 18 minutes a day, all of us, in any discipline, karate, violin, piano, whatever, if you spend 18 minutes a day, which is 100 hours a year, you'll be better than 95% of the world in that discipline. It's just the consistency of whatever you do more than anything else. The rule of 100 states that if you spend 100 hours in a year, which is 18 minutes a day, all of us, in any discipline, karate, violin, piano, whatever, if you spend 18 minutes a day, which is 100 hours a year, you'll be better than 95% of the world in that discipline. It's just the consistency.
Agreed? I mean, I don't know anyone that walked here today. Anyone? You learned how to drive, right? You learned how to write at some point. You learned how to talk, right? That's how we change our mindset to being positive. So anything negative that comes out of your mouth should, it takes time. Certainly it takes time. Because nothing is automatic, right? We don't just say, okay, you gotta be positive. And you're gonna be positive in every situation. You've learned to be positive in some situations, right? But in other situations, it's a little bit more trying. And so in those situations, you have to go like, let me go to my imagery. You just breathe here for a second and not react negatively. Okay? So Again, we get what we give. As a leader, we can't expect others to change if we aren't reflecting the change ourselves. We cannot expect others to be positive if we aren't positive. If we're not understanding or empathetic, how can we expect others to be empathetic to us or listening to us? Because, we all think that what we've got to say is more important than anyone else, right? So if we want people to listen to us, we have to take the time to listen to them, because it's perspective. No different than a 12-year-old boy, the world down because of, I don't know, what's his favorite game is, whatever, or grandma all of a sudden decides that you can't build your Halloween haunted house in what, right? To us, it'd be like, oh God, would you, seriously, that's what's bothering you? That's what's bothering you. All right, try living my life. Okay, I've got this, right? Everyone, it doesn't matter. To them, it's important. And they have to know that it matters. Similar to what Jeff said this morning, the value, right? If we make them feel like they don't understand as a manager's role, they don't understand that, are you kidding me? I've got to take guest complaints, I have to do online orders, I have to worry about cashier servers. My boss, which is the president of the company, the regional area director, I have area directors calling me all day long. I have 100 and, a lot. I have 170 something emails just in 2 days that I haven't gotten to because my focus is somewhere different, which used to bring me anxiety. And now I'm like, I'm only one person. I'll get to it. Right now, this is important. That will go, right? But I also don't complain about it. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to be up till midnight, right? So we have to learn. These are learned behaviors. I mean, I didn't just wake up one day. I mean, I've taken the lessons that I've learned over there. I've used conferences similar to this where I've been in your seat and I'm like, okay, that's resonant. Okay, I need to do it. But if you practice that, 18 minutes a day, that's why we talk about a quiet time, making sure that your morning starts with a quiet time, because I would not be where I am today or be the person I am today had I not taken the call of God seriously years ago to change. Because, I mean, you can hear the story all day long, but if you don't do something with it, then you're going to stay in anxiety, you're going to stay negative, you're going to stay complaining and judging others, right? We have to take those steps to be better reflections. I mean, and I talk about, even with Sunnies, when I talk about, I'm like, listen, if you go anywhere, do not wear your Sunny shirt. Because if something happens or you get in a fight with someone or you are disrespectful to someone, I do not want you representing Sunny's barbecue when you're in that mode. Because we have a culture at Sunny's. I mean, it's an amazing culture. And I'm proud to say that I've helped build that culture, because I've been there 28 years, of hospitality and giving. And I can't show that to a guest who is literally yelling at me. I had this happen a couple weeks ago. They're yelling and I'm just sitting there taking it. But if I'm yelling back, right, what reflection am I showing my team, right? I've had guests mad because I wouldn't let her 16-year-old girl order from the kids menu just because she wasn't hungry. And I was supporting the server where some managers were like, oh yeah, we'll give it to you. So what does that do to the server, right? You're like, I just followed your policy. And it wasn't like she was irate, she was mad. I'm like, yeah, our server is right. I mean, it is designed for this, but you can get this, right? And the woman's going on, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, what are you teaching your teenager? You're literally in front of her, teaching her to abort rules. They don't matter. Only to other people, not me, right? But I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know you're disappointed, but you can do this or this. But unfortunately, it's designed for our 10 and under. So yeah, she was right. So I'm supporting the server, I'm like, well, we get it everywhere else. I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, some servers do it just to get a better tip. But all of our Sunnies has that same policy. So unfortunately, someone is making it harder for us to ensure that, we're fair with people. So I said it calmly, but she's, but what example am I leading if I'm, yelling back, right? It takes time. It takes time if you take the time. Sometimes we don't want to take the time. We say, oh, I can't do that. I just can't. I've tried. What, 18 minutes? One day I tried for 18 minutes to do a different discipline. Actually, that video encourages me. I'm like, I really want to learn how to play the guitar, but I never take the time. I've got to squeeze it in somewhere. But one day. Because all I now know, I only need to take 18 minutes a day for a year, and I will master it. I'll kick Michael out of the way. I got this. All right? So, but how do we learn to think outward and not inward? Because all of this is inward, right? This is all about self, right? So how do we think outwardly? Because every time we focus on what's not happening, it's all about inward. It's all about self. Another word for that is selfish, because we're always thinking about how it's affecting us. So we need to change our mindset in a good way to thinking outward, right? So how do I do that? We first learn to be grateful. All right, next exercise. On your piece of paper, wherever you got it, this is going to be a fun one. From A to Z, using the alphabet, I want you to write all things that you're happy about. It could be, I love apples. I love beaches. I'm thankful for coffee. A to Z. I'm thankful for my team member, Zai. Right? A to Z. It can be a word, it can be a sentence. It's all the things that are either blessings or that you're grateful for, thankful for. I'm thankful for yawns when I'm tired. That is not one you can use. That was mine. About 30 more seconds. Not paragraphs, Kirk, just. I'm still trying to figure out some of the letters. X, Y, Z with the zebras. Everyone almost finished. Good. So we're going to go ahead and move on. You can come back to that list a little longer. All right, so first thing, learns to be grateful. Second thing, learn new things. Want to learn more? You can do it right now. But I want to, think about things that you can learn and that you've always wanted to do, haven't done. Throw out some things. Scuba diving is amazing if you like the water. Love it. Scuba diving, snorkeling is a nice, easy thing. Boating, I love boating. Anything water. Teach you how to dance. Ride a bike, rollerblade. Be a presenter. All right. So, comfort zone is a choice. Right? So if you want to learn something new, right? If you want to go outside the boundaries, if you want to, expand your horizons, right? What do you got to lose, right? 18 minutes a day, you'll be there in a year, right? If we could choose negativity, we can choose positivity. If we can choose to yell at somebody, right? We can choose to be silent. It's all about perspective. We need to change our perspective and recognize that not everyone thinks like us, not everyone looks like us, not everyone's going to take care of themselves like, hopefully you do, right? So, how do we do this? We need to be around positive people, right? You need to be around like-minded people. We need to learn, if you need to be patient, you need to be around people that are patient, right? Walk away from folly, okay? And embrace jolly, be joyful, right? All right, so think about your team. Think about people who annoy you, are different than you. They would just stop doing this. People that we know, if they would just stop being critical, judging, letting, whatever, right? Then it wouldn't be so bad. Instead, focus on what they bring. What attributes do you like in that team member? Because it's so easy. This world is full of people that focus on the negative, right? I mean, we hear the chatter. Does anyone see America's Got Talent? Go watch that. Okay. One episode, it was just a couple weeks ago, I thought was amazing. There was a comedian. He wound up being a Christian comedian. Didn't know that. He was just a comedian. He gets on to do his thing. He was actually very funny. And did anyone see that episode by any chance? Okay. So what I found, you saw it. I'm like dumbfounded. I'm like, he just said the message. in a really cool way. I mean, like, he is like, you know, he was comparing white churches versus black churches and how one is this and one, you know, vanilla, you know, very, you know, whatever. So but it was funny because he started out going and he's playing and he says, I just feel like everyone should just love everybody, right? The reaction was like, yes, yes. And you've got how many thousands of people listening and in the audience, they're all like, yes, it's a good idea. But who takes it seriously, right? It's like, all right, well, if that many people feel like we should all be loving people, then why aren't you loving people, right? I mean, think about that many people who actually took it seriously. Instead, it's all about my opinion, my opinion, my opinion, my opinion matters, not yours. It's my opinion that's right, my opinion that you should be listening to. Now, which is funny because everyone believes the same thing. Yes, everyone should love each other, but what are we doing to love each other? If we aren't loving ourselves, how can we love others? If we aren't patient, if we aren't kind, if we aren't doing it, then we're never going to get to those thousands of people that love other people. That's what we're called to do. Like, they want it. People want, like, oh, the chatter. But we're not doing anything to do it. But I can't control. I can only control what comes out of my mouth. I can only control how I interact first. And then if you learn how to interact that way, and you interact that way, and you learn to interact that way, and you think about, that's how we get forward. We can't control what's happening in D.C. We can't control what's happening in Texas, in New York, in California. All I can do is control right here. And if everyone starts with right here, and love, be patient, and understand that people come from different perspectives, different backgrounds, different environments, cultural, family cultural, right? I mean, people look at me with two heads from the north when I say grits. I'm like, oh, grits are great. They're like, what? I'm like, it's the difference between Miracle Whip and mayonnaise. I'm like, Miracle Whip, right? There's differences everywhere. Okay, so. All right, Ghirardelli or Hershey brand, I actually left it back there, but you can get all right. So they're both chocolate, right? They're both chocolate, but which would you rather have? The one that has real chocolate? Or in case you didn't know, Hershey changed to fake chocolate a few years ago. So it's not real chocolate. But Ghirardelli is, right? They're both chocolate, right? But what do you want to be, the Ghirardelli or the Hershey? Right? So what can we do different today? We talked about that. What can we do different starting today? Learn to bless people, right? We're focusing on what they do bring, not what they don't bring. So how do we bless people, right? Be specific, not generic. I don't want a Hershey. I want Ghirardelli chocolate, okay? I don't want Starbucks. I want Barney's, right? You know what people like, and I brought this into Sonny's, and I'm doing it on the franchise side. It went flat at the corporate office, but now on the franchise, they've embraced it. I created a form that says, get to know me. It says several questions that people have to fill out when they're hired. And it's things like, what's your favorite places? Do you like flowers or plants or nothing at all? What's your favorite snack? What's your favorite coffee place? What's your favorite beverage of choice? Where's your favorite retail place? It's getting to know them so that when I go to bless someone for their birthday or anniversary or just because, I go to that list. I'm like, oh, they like Barney's. I'm going to go to Barney's. And I had one time I was like, oh, I want a Barney's coffee for, in Christmas. Or like, all right, everyone put in 3 things that you like. I had Barney's. I got a Starbucks coffee because it was easier. It's quicker to just go to Publix and get. But I'm like, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted Barney's, right? So it's like, it's not the thought. It's the thought. I got her coffee. Everyone likes Starbucks. No, I like Barney's, right? Be specific when you go to bless people, okay? Make someone's day. Give them an encouraging note. If they really are doing something different, feel better because we want to promote the behavior we want, right? And not bring attention to what we don't. It's like, listen, I trained my little dog, and I used a video, and I was was surprised at how similar it was to training people. I was like, oh my gosh, this should be a kid's video. It was crazy, right? Bring attention to what you want. They will always repeat what they feel like they're doing good. People strive and crave recognition or affirmation, all right? I did a Just Because Monday. I have an assistant and my training talent acquisition person who I hired in January, and I was like, it's Just Because Monday. Here, they do love Starbucks. I was like, here's a Starbucks card. I just want to let you know you're doing an amazing job. Just happens to be Just Because Monday. Be spontaneous. It doesn't have to be for a certain reason, but learn to bless people today. Now, I mentioned this. No, I didn't. I meant to. The pain of regret is worse than the pain of discipline. I use that quote all the time because regret, it messes with your mental state, right? It's like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I, whereas the pain of discipline, you've pushed through to the other side, you accomplished, and you feel like, oh, yay, I didn't yell at that person, yay, I was patient, right? But then when you're not, you're like, oh, God, I did it wrong. We beat ourselves up, right? That's why the pain of regret is worse than the pain of discipline. All right, so bad joy is just bad, right? It's just bad. Talk back to that temptation. Talk back to bad joy. This is not going to bring me good joy if I, do the normal, drink too much, spend too much, talk too much, gossip too much, right? But if I defeat somebody, right, say no, or recognize it and apologize for it. We could have done that better. Okay? All right, so you might see this stuff might make you feel good temporarily, but in the end, it's just gonna leave you depressed and unhappy and not feeling good and leaves us with regret. So in closing, it's funny, I learned this recently in my research of this. So the golden rule is do unto others what you would want them to do unto you, right? People think that they don't realize it's in the Bible, but they just think it's a cool saying, right? So the silver rule is similar, but to the negative. Don't do unto others what you don't want them to do to you, okay? But God wants us to be, it's not enough to avoid evil. Hey, well, at least I didn't cuss her out, right? I mean, at least I didn't yell at her, right? That's like, I just avoided evil, right? It's not enough to avoid evil. God wants us to bless people, right? So you want to do a new mindset, okay? We want to go out into the world with a new mindset of how can I bless someone? It's not enough to do good. How can I bless them? How can I bless their day? How can I make them feel like, oh my God, that was so thankful, right? The team at Bartow surprised me yesterday with the exact same thing. I had filled out, someone made me, I was the last one to fill out my get to know me. Someone emailed me a couple weeks ago, Barbara, you need to fill out your get to know me. And so they surprised me with all my favorite things. All of them, like they went overboard, but they made me feel so special, and I talk about it and I thank them. It's like it wasn't just a gift card, right? They brought people together, they signed a card, they got balloons. It was like, it made me feel special, it made me feel appreciated that the work that I'm doing there is making a difference. So that's where, there are tons of reasons for joy. We just have to find them, right? We have to find the jolly in life and embrace it, change it, and retain it and implement it, right? Again, it all starts here. I'm sorry, they're at the door. I'm running 5-6 minutes late. Anyway, but thank you. So go out into the world with a new mindset, a good mindset that changes your mind. You and only you can do that. No one else can do that for you if you choose to. Y'all been an amazing audience. Thank you so much.